Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Did you watch the State of the Union last night? Oh, my goodness. It was so good. It was completely different than the last one that we saw with Biden. Last one with Biden, everyone was kind of looking and saying, okay, how bad is he going to mess up? No one did that with President Trump last night. Then they were going like, well, is Joe Biden look like he's going to be hopped up on something? No one was thinking about that last night. Did you think about that last night with President Trump, Shannon?
I mean, not
That
at
Joe
all.
Biden, that President Trump might be hopped up on something so he can get through the 90 minutes?
Listen, Trump has
Oh, my
done
goodness.
how many rallies? Come on
Oh,
now.
my
That man
goodness.
could talk for hours and hours.
Absolutely. And so no one was thinking that President Trump wasn't going to be able to do it. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you would, please bless me by hitting that thumbs up and sharing this video. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I think, one of the things that I really liked about last night, Shannon, is how much President Trump acknowledged God. And he's saying with God's help, we can take this country to the next level.
Yeah, and he said that he wanted children to be as God intended them to be.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty awesome too.
Yes. And you know what? This is why I call them Democrats. So all of you wondering why I call them Democrats, just look at it from last night. And you know what, Shannon? Even people on the liberal media news, they were going, "Oh my goodness, what were they doing?" They had the auction cards up. Actually, I saw a video where the guy was saying, "Okay, give me 20, 20, 20, 20, give me 25, 20, 25, 25," and they were holding up the cards like they were in an auction. And you know what? The Democrats, they've been trying to auction off the government for many, many years and been getting away with it. But now we have Doge showing all of the waste that's been taking place, and they're upset with because of President Trump and Doge from finding all the waste. Now, with some other news, the Democrats actually have a win against President Trump. The Supreme Court sided with the Democrats about USAID, and $2 billion of foreign aid has to go out. So $2 billion of going out that's not even benefiting the American people, that $2 billion needs to go out. So this is it. They're saying this is a loss. But the interesting thing about this loss, of what they're calling it, is that the Supreme Court said, okay, yeah, the Trump administration, they can't hold the $2 billion of aid, foreign aid going out, but you have to go tell the Trump administration what the aid is for. What the aid is for. So I can only imagine that they're going to be like, well, we don't want to tell them what it's for. We just want to be able to send it out. We just want people to, get the money, because they've been really, funneling money. Okay. Let me get to some of this stuff that I have to share with you. And this was a really interesting night. And one of the biggest highlights of last night was Representative Al Green got the boot. He got kicked out. Why would he get kicked out? He's supposed to be an honorable man, right? Why would he get kicked out? And it's really interesting to see this because none of the Democrats, when he got kicked out, none of them stood up with him and walked out. And I saw this too. I saw this video with this guy, and there's a black guy. And it's just a short video. And he brought up a valid point. He said, every time the Democrats need someone to be the fall guy or take the blame for something or just, act loud and act obnoxious, it's always a black person that they find to do it. And Al Green was that guy. Al Green. And everybody keeps saying he looked like that Neanderthal guy in the commercials. You know what I'm talking about? They got these memes all out there.
Insurance cards.
Yeah, the insurance.
Yeah,
they got all these memes out there showing him like that, but apparently he's calling for Trump to be impeached because he got kicked out. Well, let me show you what happened, what unfolded for all of this. And it was really something because you know what? You can split screen it. Mike Johnson actually gave Al Green plenty of time to stop being a tyrant. He kept, because when I first saw it, I'm like, I was doing something else and I was like, oh, what just happened? And of course I had to go back and watch it. Mike Johnson kept giving him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And he was just standing up and he wanted to showboat, and he was shaking his cane at President Trump. And he was also shaking his cane at Republicans. Watch this.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. He had plenty of time to sit right back down. He had plenty of time to go ahead and be respectful and sit down. He doesn't have to respect Trump, but respect the position.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
So look at him. And you know what? There's one part of the video, Shannon, while they're escorting Al Green out, the Sergeant-at-Arms, where the Republicans were started singing, na, 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 na.
Seriously.
Hey, goodbye.
You know, it's sad that this is where we are. I mean,
it really is.
To be honest. And then I know you're about to play the clip, but literally he stood up for something that hasn't happened yet. It's fear mongering for the reason why he stood up. There's nothing to support what he says is actually happening. I mean, this is a guy that as soon as Trump was declared president of the United States, he automatically put impeachment papers out there.
Yeah, automatically. For what?
For what?
And for what reason, right? Just because. He did it just because. Because he can't stand President Trump. He's upset that President Trump won the election.
And you know what? I don't mean to bring this up, but
you don't?
I do. You know, there's a lot of, I was watching X last night, and there's there's this one particular guy, he happens to be black, that's like, why does the Democrat Party always have people like Al Green get up there and look foolish for the Democrat Party?
Yeah, I was just talking about that.
I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. You must have saw the same video that I saw.
Yeah.
Where this guy was basically saying, and you know what? They do this all the time.
Yeah, and I've talked about Maxine Waters, Al Green, Crockett.
They do it all the time.
I mean, so many.
You know
of
what?
them.
There's this
Hakeem Jeffries, for that matter.
Yeah, there's this black preacher, and I've been actually meaning to get that video. There's a black preacher where he's actually pretty much saying the same thing, but except for he's bringing up the fact that black people, they can't. It's like you lose your black card if you're not a Democrat, and this is how what's going around, and even in the black community. But the way he lays it out is just absolutely spot on. And if I can, I'll get that. But let me show you Al Green's response, and I'm gonna try to find that video what I was talking about with the black preacher, because he lays it out. But listen to Al Green's response of getting kicked out. And I think that was part of his plan. He wanted to get kicked out. He didn't want to sit in there. You know, you had Jasmine Crockett. She didn't show up. Did AOC show up? I don't think AOC showed up either. And, you know, there was quite a few of them that didn't show up. But I think his whole thing was he wanted to get kicked out. Now, the very fact that they had the Sergeant of Arms remove him, that says a lot. That says a lot. So is there going to be any repercussion from that? What's going to happen? Is there going to be any penalties? I don't know, but listen to this.
And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid.
Does it actually, though? Is it actually going to cut Medicaid? Because, you know, they're constantly saying this.
Well, I heard them say that they were going to restructure it in a sense that if somebody is willing or if somebody is able to work, then they should get out there and work, right? And so they want to make sure that we're not just enabling people to be lazy.
Yeah. This government assistance.
Medicaid was created for people to have assistance if they absolutely need it. But Will, you and I both know these days there's a lot of people on it that just don't need it.
Not even just these days. I remember 20 years ago. I mean, I actually had family members that were living off the government assistance. And I had, and I knew not just family members, but I knew people, they were having children just so they can be on government assistance. And they were like happy about it. I remember one female, she had 5 kids by three or four different baby daddies. And she was happy to do it because it was like, well, for every kid, they give me extra money. And I'm like, this is no way to live.
Yeah, it's enabling an unhealthy, environment and healthy family cycle, because a lot of these people are like, well, my mom got it, so I want it too. Yeah. Right? If she's going to stay home and raise her kids off of it, I'm going to stay home and raise my kids off of it.
And the father was absent. As well. Okay, let's go back to Al Green.
He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt. And we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people.
So is yelling during speech the best way to get that across?
It is the best way to get it across to a person who uses his incivility against our civility. He is a person who has consistently been used incivility against civility.
So do you think it was in the House? Is that what you said?
Look, I'm willing to suffer whatever punishment is available to me. I didn't say to anyone, don't punish me. I've said I'll accept the punishment, but it's worth it to let them know that there are some of us who are going to stand up against this president's desire to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security.
So were you saying you have no mandate? Is that what you told them?
That's what he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. None.
Is the only punishment that you were kicked out, sir? Is there something?
I don't know. Whatever the punishment is, I'm not fighting the punishment. This is about the people who are being punished by virtue of losing their health care. This is the richest country in the world, and we have people who don't have good health care. We've got to do better. And now we're about to cut Medicaid, which is for poor people. Health care has become wealth care for many people, and we can't afford to let that happen.
Is that the only thing that you're protesting?
No, I have other things I'm protesting. And I'm also working on my articles of impeachment. This president is unfit. He should not hold the office. 34 felony convictions, 2 times impeached.
Sir, tell me one more time what you were shouting in the chamber.
That he has no mandate to cut Medicaid.
That's what you were saying over and over. Thank you, sir.
Yes. No mandate. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
You know what?
Actually, President Trump has a mandate. The mandate was in November of last year. He does have a mandate. And, everything that President Trump is doing, the American people has been wanting him to do this. What were you going to say, Shannon?
Yeah, people want to get rid of fraud in Medicaid. They want to get rid of that, whether he wants to agree with it or not. But listen, how long has Al Green been there? And all these things are still broken. I honestly believe that all these people have been there for decades, years and years, that haven't done anything to fix the bureaucracy and the fraud and everything in our government. They really don't have too much to say, right? Because they sit there and go, well, you're not doing a good job, or you're not doing anything. And I look at them going, you haven't done anything. You've been there. Why are you retaliating against somebody that wants to fix it? Because the American people, both Republicans, Democrats, Independents, when you put this in front of them, the things that need to be fixed, the fraud, the bureaucracy, they are applauding it. Of course, nobody likes to hear somebody lost their job, but that's going to have to happen in order to get it right.
Yeah.
You can't not make changes.
And let me say this really quick. You remember when Joe Biden was in office and they fired a lot of people out of the military? A lot of people were losing their jobs because businesses were shut down. You remember that? People lost their jobs and they because of the pipeline that was shut down. I think it said between 10 and 11,000 people. How many of these same Democrats that are crying and kicking and screaming about the jobs loss from these people in the government, how many of them were actually saying, oh my goodness, this is terrible, all these people losing their jobs? Do you remember that? It was crickets. As long as Democrats are doing something to cause people to lose their lives, lose their jobs, et cetera, they're perfectly fine with it. Perfectly fine with it. But when President Trump is trying to make a smaller government by getting rid of all of these people that's, a lot of people that's sitting there, not even doing their jobs, not even doing anything, not even checking email. When President Trump is doing this, then it becomes a problem. Only then. And President Trump even called it out last night that he could, solve the world's problems. I'm paraphrasing here. He could solve the world problems and none of the Democrats would clap to it. Every last one of them sat down, talking about Lake and Rowley, talking about that young man was 13-year-old. They're talking about everything, stopping the war, stopping the killing in Ukraine. They didn't applaud for any of that. The only time that I noticed that they applaud is when President Trump talked about sending money to Ukraine. Oh yeah, this is wonderful. That's what we want, right? Because he even called out Elizabeth Warren on that. Well, let me share this one with you. Here's Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders leaving, and this is, I guess he just couldn't take it anymore. So Bernie Sanders gets up during the middle of the speech and he walks out. And then, of course, reporters are right there waiting and they asking him questions. Listen.
What did you think of Trump's speech?
Not much. My speech is going to be better.
So he didn't really have anything to say. He just said our speech is going to be better. And no one followed him out. Shannon, I sent you the video, and it's Bishop Wooden is his name. I sent you the video. If you can, I text it to you. If you can get that video, because I just want to show, because this is really important. It's really important how the Democrats have utilized black people all of these years. And it's not even just black people that they utilize for their agenda, but more and more people are starting to finally wake up what the Democrat Party is all about. And after last night, people should really recognize exactly what it is. Now, to get back to Al Green really quick, look, here's another shot where Al Green was leaving the chamber and Al Green was trying to talk, but I want y'all to listen to what the Republicans were saying. And the Republicans were chanting something, and the Democrats all over the mainstream media, they're upset with the Republicans chanting what they're about to chant. Do you know what they were chanting, Shannon? This USA. I mean, why get upset about it? And the Democrats go, well, the Republicans chanting it like they own it. I mean, we put America first. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, not a single Democrat, loves America. Not a single one. My switchboard operator goes, this is making me confused. Aren't we in America? Shouldn't we all be chanting USA?
Yeah, it's a shame.
USA.
It's a shame that triggers the left.
They could have taken this as an opportunity to say, you know what? This is our country too. USA. USA. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Are you asking yourself why they didn't do that? Because they do not respect this country. They do not like this country. They don't love this country. If you ask any one of those Democrats, do you put America first? What do you think they're going to say? Not a single one of them wants to put America first. But what's really interesting is to see the liberal media, all of these liberals in the media saying, look, the Democrats, these politicians that are Democrats, they really showed themselves. Now, see, the Democrats, they all try to come across like they're better, like they know what's best for all of us. They can teach us something. They all do this, right? They all do this. Well, listen to this. This was on CBS. And they're actually talking about what happened and what took place. I truly believe that this is probably going to be the end of the Democrat Party and would not hurt my feelings at all. Would not hurt my feelings.
So I've learned to be humble about analyzing speeches like this because the country often catches on to things that those of us in Washington might not sift the way the country does. When the president listed things that he thought were extravagant examples of wasteful spending, those of us around this table might say, well, that's not going to be enough, even if you cut all that to balance the budget, which is $840 billion out of balance. But Americans will hear it and say, wait a minute, those things sound wasteful to me. Sounds like Elon Musk and the president are on to something. There was also tremendous emotive power in several parts of the speech that I think will resonate across the country. Whether it's Laken Riley slaying her mother and sister, or Mark and his mother, Malphine Fogel, rescued or brought back from Russia, or a Border Patrol agent, Roberto Ortiz, or Stephanie Diller, the surviving spouse of a slain New York City police officer. Those things carry emotional weight, not only in the moment, but probably inevitably in the pass-around social media dissection of this speech. I keep my eyes and ears tuned to emotional moments like that often jump over the instantaneous Beltway analysis.
You see that? He's talking about how their attitudes were. He's talking about the way they were not even cheering on things that they should be cheering on. I mean, when I saw that young man, 13-year-old, 13, and President Trump acknowledged him, and what did they do? The Democrats was like, we don't care. And what they said about this young man after the fact, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm going to share it with you because the Democrats, they're completely demonic. I mean, you can't even make it up. I'm going to show it to you. I really am. I'm going to show it to you. But before I get to that, let me share this one with you. This is Simone. Now, she used to be on Bernie Sanders' team, and I think she's actually replacing the Unjoyful Reed on MSDNC. Her and a couple other people, because they're going to do like a group session type thing, to my understanding. And she split screen it. And she's even complaining about them holding up those, what they call them, auction signs. Yeah, did y'all see them?
They call them bingo cards, but I thought they were like ping pong
bingo
paddle.
or auction. You know, even auctions. Some people they're
true.
straight up like
That's
auction,
true,
like
yeah.
they're holding up the signs like they're at an auction. I mean, it was really bizarre. But to hear what they say about it, watch.
Say, well, thank you, Simone.
Can we talk about it?
The bingo signs were killing me. I don't know who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael.
He doesn't know who thought up the bingo signs, what he called them, but they should be fired. They should be fired. I mean, because it made them look silly. It made them look immature. It made them look like they're in grade school. Like, we don't care. We just bat Trump. And then Elon Musk, what one of them said, Musk steals or something like that. What is he stealing? I mean, it's the richest man in the world. There's nothing none of these Democrats have that he wants.
I mean, this just proves what we've been saying.
Yes.
These people act more like activists than they do like congressmen or House representatives. This is ridiculous that you go in there and you hold up little paddles as if you don't already have a say in our government. I am so tired of these people showboating.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
And say, I'm doing something for the people that I represent because I'm holding up a paddle. I'm shaming Trump. Yay for me. Vote for me.
Exactly. Let me play a little bit more of this.
Who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael, this is an indictment, in my opinion, on the Democratic leadership. I talked to a lot of members they was texting. The staff were on my phones and they were calling. And I think the best way to describe it is the Democratic leadership said they didn't want disruptions and they wanted people to attend and bring a guest and they wanted, little business as usual, and we're fighting back in other ways. There is a palpable disgust, as Claire said, from not just the members, but their constituents. And it's like a pot, as someone described it to me, that's boiling and it's about to bubble over. If you do not allow the members a space to release valve, it's going to bubble over. And this was the visuals are not taking back the House in 2026. Not these visuals.
You hear that? You hear that? She said, not these individuals. They're not going to take over the House in 2026. See, they see the Democrat Party crumbling. They see it. And I've been saying this for a while. And I hope that it crumbles. And again, and I've been asking this question for a long time. And I'm going to ask everyone that's watching right now, maybe I can leave me a comment and you can tell me, set me straight. What purpose is the Democrat Party? What purpose do they serve? It's a legit question. What purpose do they serve? Because, it's like that old age question, what are cockroaches, what purpose do they serve? A cockroach? I really don't know. I don't know what the Democrat Party serves. What purpose do they serve? And I encourage you, let me know in the comments. Maybe I just hadn't figured it out yet. I don't know. Let me just play a little bit more of this. Listen.
Where's the signs? Put the signs up, folks,
the dry erase board with different messages.
My gosh,
you don't think
crazy.
That's
put the paddles up, y'all. Do we have something of the paddles?
But here's the thing. Here the thing about the moment for me for folks, if you really want to understand the difference between Republican control and Democratic acquiescence, it's in how two things happened in that chamber and how they were handled. When Marjorie...
Now, he's getting ready to go to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, remember, Al Green, he did not sit down. He refused to sit down. He kept yelling. Now, if Marjorie Taylor Greene kept doing it, going on and on and on, then the sergeant at arms should have her removed too. But she sat down. It wasn't this what Al Green was, what he was doing. It's completely different, but they're trying to make the association. Watch.
Taylor Greene, they're behinds.
But Al Green didn't. Right? But Al Green didn't show his behind
on the House floor. All right? When they just act a fool, shouting and talking and being loud and disruptive. What happened?
They stayed.
They stayed. Democrats didn't threaten them. Democrats didn't tell them to sit your behind down and shut up. Right? Order in the House.
Well, what happened? What should the Democrats done tonight?
But what happened tonight?
Well, what should have happened tonight?
What happened then is what happened tonight. Because the Republicans weren't coming to play. They weren't going to give the Democrats the quarter. They knew what they were going to do. They knew they were going to try to be disruptive in some form. And their goal was to shut it down in one of two ways. And both of them worked. USA, as if they own that, that moniker.
Did you hear him? I mean, they can say it too. There's nothing preventing them from saying USA. There's nothing preventing them from saying it.
I have to say,
to be honest with you, I don't ever recall hearing Democrats chant USA.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I'm not saying that they don't. Look, I'm not saying that they don't. But I'm trying to think. Well, at least since President Trump has been in office, or every time President Trump is in office, I don't ever recall them chanting USA. And the main reason why I don't believe they do it is because they are all about America last. Were you going to say, Shannon?
And I have to say this, before Trump even took to the podium, we already knew, Ilhan Omar put it out there, that some people were going to disrupt and even walk out.
Yes.
So they had to...
Or not even show up.
They had to prepare for that. Al Green refused to sit down. He wanted to get kicked out. There's a difference. He wanted, that was his intention to have that look.
But he didn't have anyone follow him. No one supported him on
he
his
was
way
the
out the door.
sacrificial black person in the room.
And you know, that's exactly what it is. And I'm glad you said it, because that's what it was. So can we bring this up? Here's this Bishop Wooden. Really good. Really good. And I want y'all to listen to what he says, because he's so spot on. And it's just one of these videos here. But listen, this lays it out. Listen.
Are we actually in a place where the only way you can be black and stand with your people is to be a Democrat? Now, if that's where we are, we're the dumbest people on the face of the planet. And we're the only people in America who operate that way. You can be white and be a Republican or a Democrat. Hispanic and be a Republican or a Democrat. Praise the Lord. Whatever, and be a Republican or a Democrat. But if you're black, the only way you can be an authentic black person is to be a Democrat. That's stupid.
It really is. I saw this and I'm like, man, this is so spot on. It's so spot on. Why is that? Why is that? And you know what? Society, no, leave it there. Society actually created this, right? Because when I meet somebody, I'm going to be honest with you. When I meet somebody for the first time and they happen to be black, it is running through my mind. Is it possible that they might be a Republican? Because in my mind, I'm already set that they're more likely going to be a Democrat. Automatically, because they're black, because he's so spot on. You can't be an authentic black person unless you're a Democrat, according to society in America, which is really sad. And it's right down disgusting, as if black people can't make up the decisions on their own. I mean, this is so fitting about what took place last night with Al Green. And then, you know, when they kicking him out, all of the other Democrats that are sitting there watching him get kicked out, when they're watching, they could have all stood up and walked out with him, but they didn't. They didn't. Listen to him.
And you know what it means? It means that explains why we spend half the time, or maybe even more, out of power. I've said for years, we need to operate politically, and I want to make this clear, in a way where both parties will compete for our vote. When one party knows that they're going to get your vote no matter what, you get nothing from that party. When another party knows that they're not going to get your vote no matter what, you get nothing from that party. So then you end up in no man's land. We are not married to the Democrat Party. People have a right to choose. And if you choose to be a Democrat, if you choose to be a Republican, if you choose to be independent, as I am, that doesn't make you more black nor less black. It means you're an American participating in the process.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what it means. And you know what? You can take them off the screen now. And you know what? When I meet people that are Democrat, I don't look down on them. I don't think about what job they're working at to try to figure out how to get them fired because they're supporting the Democrat Party. I don't do any of that. I'm like, okay, that's your prerogative. You get to be what you want to be. You get to select whatever party you want to participate with. I mean, that is what it is. But when they find out that you're a Republican and you supported President Trump, they will go to whatever extreme that they can, especially if they're extremely radical leftists. They will find out where your place of employment. They will harass that location until you lose your job. They want to silence you. They'll do everything they can to harm you. They will. This is how they are. And then when you're black, oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many times I've received messages saying that I'm a traitor to my people. And I'm thinking, well, how am I a traitor to my people? Because my people are God's people. And God's people come in so many different colors. So many. So how am I a traitor to my people? And of course, they're saying this because I'm supporting President Trump. I voted on a Republican ticket. They're saying that I'm a traitor to black people, as if black people specifically have to vote Democrat or you're a sellout. I hear it all the time. Still get it. I still get the messages all the time. And what's really amazing about it is that it's typically white female liberals telling me this. And then when they put it out there and they post it publicly, and then other black liberals see it, the black liberals will join in with the white liberals saying it. Oh, yeah, you're a sellout. Then they start putting all these colorful, with the raccoon and all of that. They start putting all those different things. Then they start saying other messages. I'm just going to really bring this up really quick, and then we're going to move on. I've also had white liberals call me the N-word, and black Democrats will see this from white liberals. And what do you think they do? Nothing. They join in with them. They give it a pass because they find out that I'm a Trump supporter. But we as Republicans, conservative Christians, we see that people are supporting the Democrat ticket. We don't try to harass them. We don't go and, they take it as harassment if we're, wearing a MAGA hat. They take that as harassment, or they take it as harassment because we don't think the way they do. I just don't like the way you think. I've had them tell me that too. Well, one of the things that took place last night was absolutely beautiful. The southern border has been a major issue, especially under Joe Biden. I mean, it was a major issue. And President Trump actually put out a video, I think it was just the day before the State of the Union, where he was showing how Joe Biden said he couldn't do anything. He's trying to get Congress to give him the authority to be able to shut down the border, to stop all the trafficking, drugs and, children, et cetera, et cetera. Joe Biden said he didn't have the authority to do it. Well, President Trump actually responded to that tonight. Now, I want y'all to listen to this. Can we split screen it? Now, listen to this. This is so good and so spot on.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Wow. Look at that. And can you see the Democrats how they're responding? All we needed was a new president. That's all we needed, was a new president to get the border in order. But Joe Biden and the Democrats, they all made it like, oh my goodness, this is going to be really difficult. It's going to be extremely difficult to fix. I don't know that we can fix it. And this was like the entire night. I think the only time they stood up is when they walked in and then they walked out. I think that's the only time. And there was actually one time that they did clap, and they clapped when President Trump was talking about money to Ukraine. That's the only time they were clapping. Now, what do you see here? Now, apparently, I think Nancy Pelosi sent this memo out trying to get majority of the women to wear pink. And typically, they wear pink in support of what, Shannon?
Women's rights.
Women's rights. So they're wearing pink because they say they want to support women's rights. So my question, since they want to support women's rights, right? This is what they're saying. This is the reason why they're wearing it. When it came to the point of keeping men out of girls' sports, out of girls' locker rooms, how many of these women that you see on the screen here in pink, how many of them voted in support of women, little girls? It's not even a trick question. I'll tell you, 0. Not a single one of them voted to protect women, little girls. Not a single one of them said no to men playing on girls' sports. Not a single one of them. But yet they show up in pink in support of women's rights. Oh, my goodness. Can you say hypocrite? How many ways can you say hypocrite? How many ways? Look at that. And apparently, I guess it was just a group of them because there's a lot of other women that were there and they're not wearing pink. There's women in the front, women in the back, and they're not wearing pink. Why aren't they all wearing pink? I guess some of them saying, yeah, that's probably stretching it a little bit. It's probably stretching a little bit because, we did not support, the women. And how is that not a wake-up call to the rest of the country? Especially though, you can take it off the screen, especially those that call themselves Christians and supporting the Democrat ticket. How is this not a wake-up call to them? I don't know how you call yourself a Christian and then you find out that they're wanting to have men and girls sports, and you know what kind of men we're talking about, right? And then they turn around and they still support the Democrat Party. And it's not even just, the Democrat Party wanting men and girls locker rooms and sports. It's so much more demonic stuff that they do. So much. But I know people who call themselves Christians. I don't get in fights with them. I just find it really difficult that you're openly supporting an entity that is openly demonic. And with that said, I'm not saying that the Republican parties are angels, that they're floating around on clouds. I'm not saying that at all. But when you have a party that is openly rejecting everything of God, that says a lot. The sanctity of life, and they openly reject it. See, I consider myself, kind of extreme MAGA Republican. Right? Because I'm all about God's word. 100%. God convicts me of the wrong things that I do. And I'm still a man. I make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes because that's who I am. I'm going to make mistakes. But I would never, ever go out and try to rally everybody to come outside and go up and down the street and you support the wrong things that I'm doing. I would never do that. That don't make any sense, does it? But you know what I'm talking about. I would never want you to have a parade for the sinful acts that I'm doing and then telling you that, oh, this is so great, it's so wonderful. There's only one party that's doing that. Now, I'm not saying that those people, they're not in the Republican Party, but they're not out there trying to have parades with all of that. It's not happening. Now, as I talked about it earlier, put it up on the screen. You see this? You see the young man right there? He's 13. He's had a rough life. He's had a rough life. And when you listen to him, he sounds older than 13. Have you heard him talk, Shannon? He sounds older than 13. And yeah. I guess when you go through so much, trauma in life, it kind of makes you grow up quicker than most children.
He actually did a video, and I can't recall how many surgeries he's had, like 10 brain surgeries.
I think 10, yeah.
And he said after each surgery, his personality has changed.
Yeah, and 100%. He said, my personality's changed. He's becoming like he sounds like an old man almost when he's talking. Right. I mean, it's just, experience that you go through when you go through stuff like that, it can change a person. 100%. Now, listen to what she says, because in the video, I would play the video, but it has music in it, and I'm trying to avoid some stuff. In the video, he goes on to say that he thanks President Trump. He gives thanks to President Trump for helping him. President Trump, he gave thanks to President Trump. He didn't have to. He didn't have to. And what you see in his hand, President Trump made him an honorary Secret Service agent. I mean, dude, for real. But listen to what she has to say. This is part of the reason why I say that these people are demonic. She's trying to be genuine. I mean, she's trying. But the evilness in her just comes out. Watch.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer.
Now, all she had to do is leave it there. She could have just left it there. And you know what? No one would say anything. Okay, well, good for you. Good for you. Right? She said, I don't think she said anything bad there. Do you, Shannon? Up until now,
I know. I was like, oh, this is nice. And then
yeah, she's actually saying something, decent.
Have you ever seen like people make those videos and then you hear like the record scratch after that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Now it takes a turn for the worse.
And it's like she could have just left it there, but she couldn't. Watch this. Watch.
But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what she just said? What? Where is that coming from? I mean, how's he going to grow up and work for President Trump? The young man is only 13. How's he going to work for President Trump? Listen, just in case you missed it.
States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide.
Oh, my goodness.
And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump.
Oh, my goodness. What does any of that have to do with this young man? See, she can't help it. President Trump, you can get her off the screen. President Trump did something absolutely beautiful here, recognizing this young man. She couldn't just leave it at that.
Yeah, I thought it was really
She couldn't do it. She could. It's like I can't bring myself to just leave it at this. We have to.
Ask Trump.
We have to. It's making him look good. You can't. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. But you know what? You know what it comes down to ultimately? The Democrat Party is they're basically lost. They really are. They don't have any true leadership in the party. As I mentioned before, it's not Obama leading the Democrat Party. It's not Kamala Harris. Who do they have out there? David Hogg? Or David Hogue? Where's David Hogue? Right? How come they didn't get him to do the rebuttal? Right? How come they didn't get him? They didn't get him to do the rebuttal. Why not? You think that, that'd be the thing to do. Yeah, there's a member of Congress to do it. But I'm just kind of like, where is he, right? But nonetheless, maybe he's the one that came up with the auction cards. Well, listen to Scott Jennings here. Scott Jennings lays it out. And basically, he says it too. The Democrat Party, they're lost. I mean, this whole thing, what they did last night.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure she's a very nice person. None of this will be remembered because this was a horrific night for the opposition party, regardless of how well she just spoke. It started out with Al Green getting thrown off the House floor because he couldn't keep his emotions under control. Then they had the ridiculous paddles, which now social media is roasting.
That you said false on one side and
ridiculous.
Elon on
and
the
then
other.
finally, and maybe most terribly, the Democrats who couldn't find it in their heart to stand for objectively good things, including the 95-year-old mother of Mark Fogel and Mark, who got rescued from a Russian prison, and they couldn't even stand up for that. I thought...
Yeah, why couldn't they even stand up for that? As much as the Democrats hate Russia, and I'm not saying Russia is peachy or angels or anything, but as much as the Democrats hate Russia, President Trump rescued someone from Russia.
Well, Biden failed to do it.
I know.
And
yeah,
so
Biden. That's
Trump's been
right
there
there
for just not even 2 months. And
Biden could have done it. Biden,
yeah.
You know what Biden said? It's more difficult than you think. And what?
Sure did. That's what he said.
What? 45 days? How many days has it been? And he's already done it. Let me play the last little bit of this. It's just a little bit left.
And Mark Fogel and Mark, who got rescued from a Russian prison, and they couldn't even stand up for that. I thought Democrats came into this speech lost and defeated by Donald Trump, and today it looks to me like they're even more lost and even more defeated than when this speech started.
They're more lost and even more defeated before the speech even started. More lost, 100%. And, right in the beginning of this video, they were talking about the young lady that did the rebuttal. And I haven't seen the whole thing on what she said, but I do have one clip I want to share on it. And what do you think they had to bring into? What do you have to think they were talking about? What do you think she was talking about, Shannon?
Elon
Musk.
Seriously?
Yes.
I mean, it's not even hard to guess.
It's almost like them talking about Project 2025. It's like, oh, we got to keep talking about it. We got to keep talking about it. Oh, President Trump, he's white supremacist. We got to keep talking about it. Keep talking about it.
I just want to bring to everybody's attention, how come Al Green had to take the route of getting kicked out, and then they have a white woman speaking for them?
And originally there was going around the internet that it was going to be somebody else, but apparently not. So, but
why did they have Crockett?
Let me share. Oh my goodness, why not Jasmine Crockett? Oh my goodness, now I would have watched that one. I would have watched that.
That'd be so good. That's so good.
There's a reason why they didn't want Jasmine Crockett to do it. Oh my goodness. Oh Shannon, oh my goodness, spot on. Well, here's a short clip from the Democrat response, and at the bottom there, CNN put Democratic response. There's nothing about them that's Democratic. Let me remind you, they tried to remove President Trump from the ballot. There's nothing about the Democrat Party that makes them Democratic. If you don't want to call them Democrats, I do because of all the wicked things that they do. But they are the Democrat Party. Nothing about them is Democratic. They do that on purpose, manipulate. Listen.
While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their own computer servers to poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts? No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data.
Hold on. I got this is a really short clip, everybody. I'm sorry, I got to stop it. She's saying there's no guardrails from cyber attacks. You know how old the systems are in the federal government? They're still using COBOL. That's like in the 1980s. They're still using COBOL. You understand? And she's talking about there's no cybersecurity. Are you kidding me? Elon Musk is putting rockets into space. He has Tesla. He has Neuralink. He has
no guardrails.
All of these different products and projects that he's working on. They have to have the highest level of security. And she's saying that he doesn't have any cybersecurity. The government doesn't have any cybersecurity. People were working at home, getting hacked while they're at home from China, going into the federal government.
Yeah, where's the guardrails on China?
Yeah, she says nothing about that.
They still haven't cleared it up, by the way.
Yeah, and still haven't cleared it up, to my understanding. Listen.
To poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts. No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data. We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. But change doesn't need to be chaotic.
Oh, yes, it does need to be chaotic. Oh, it absolutely needs to be chaotic. Because the change that they're talking about is changing back to the way it was before, with all the corruption taking place, and it's just not caring about any of it. That's what they're talking about. Okay, let me do some plugs real quick, and then I got something I really want to share with you that I thought is just absolutely wonderful. What I'm talking about here, though, is the smart money strategy. Warren Buffett just invested over $50 billion in energy. Billionaire Ken Griffin increased his oil investments by 150%. Even Elon Musk said we can't live without oil. But here's what Wall Street isn't telling you. There's a smarter way for you to profit from oil than buying stocks. It's a unique investment that allows you to collect monthly royalty checks from America's richest oil fields. You're not buying shares into a company. You're getting direct ownership into oil-producing properties. And you can start with just $25, people. You can learn more about this #1 oil royalty play for 2025 at JohnsonOilBoom.com. That's JohnsonOilBoom.com to discover how to collect monthly royalty checks starting today. Go check it out, JohnsonOilBoom.com. Go read that information up. Did y'all hear President Trump last night talking about drill, baby, drill? Did you hear about that? Oh, my goodness. It's about to be on. Also, let me tell you about this, too. At PrepGearPlus.com, if you're ever out somewhere just camping, hiking, if you have loved ones that's, traveling across the country, wherever it is that they're going, you want to go to PrepGearPlus.com. There's this bivy stick that you can connect to your mobile device, and you connect it to your mobile device, and you can send text messages no matter where you are on the planet. You can send your location no matter where you are on the planet. The Bivy Stick is a two-way communication satellite communicator that works with your smartphone via Bluetooth. It lets you send text messages, share your GPS location, and access emergency services globally, even without cellular coverage. This compact, durable, and is perfect for outdoor adventures, providing peace of mind in remote areas. It's an excellent choice for hikers, kids, travelers, and emergency situations. Whether you're exploring the outdoors or traveling far from home, or ensuring your loved ones can reach you and keeps you safe with a reliable satellite communication, go to prepgearplus.com to find out more about this wonderful option. Prepgearplus.com. Go check it out.
And I just want to say that if you call the number on the screen and use discount code Johnson, you get 10% off of your order.
So there it is.
And it's a great replacement for a satellite phone. A lot of people don't want to invest in a satellite phone. A Bivy Stick turns your cell phone into a satellite communicator through text. So it's a pretty awesome deal.
Bonus. Okay. Now here's another highlight of the night. So good. So good. It's a really short clip. Bring it over. Have you seen this? So when JD Vance walks up, behind the podium with Mike Johnson, they're having a conversation. It's a hot mic. Some people say, they did that on purpose. But listen.
By the way, I think the speech is going to be great, but I don't know how you do this for 90 minutes.
The hardest thing was doing it during Biden, when the speech was a stupid campaign speech.
The harder thing to do it was Biden, is because it's 90 minutes of a campaign speech.
I don't think that was on accident, but it is perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect. It is perfect. Oh, you don't think it was on accident?
No.
You think they did it on purpose?
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, accident. And by the way, Trump, after he walked out of the room and he went into the room with Republicans, he said, if you guys thought that was easy, it wasn't.
Yep. All right, everybody. We're out of here. Take care. See you tomorrow.